In this video, instead of telling you how to become a cloud engineer, I'm going to break down the 7 mistakes that are actually stopping you from getting hired as one. Over the last few years, I have watched hundreds of thousands of people trying to break into cloud engineering. They start learning AWS, they follow some roadmaps, they collect some certifications, they build a few projects, and then they send out some job applications. And what happens? Absolutely nothing. No interviews, and they get no callbacks. And yes, I understand. AI has changed a lot of things, but there is a shortage of 6 million cloud professionals, and companies are hiring as aggressively as ever, even if you have no experience. So the real question is, why do some people succeed whilst others stay stuck? Hi, I'm Suleiman. I've been working in tech since 2015. I was earning just $18,000 a year. From there, I worked my way up to earning multiple 6 figures in tech. And now I'm running my own businesses across cloud and AI consulting, software, and my education company, where I have helped more than 900 IT professionals, engineers, and career switchers master cloud engineering and actually land 6-figure cloud jobs, including at companies like AWS. And after all of that experience, I keep seeing the same 7 mistakes repeating over and over again. Meanwhile, my students are landing 6-figure cloud roles right now. Trevon and Eric both landed cloud roles just last week. Tomislav got hired as a platform engineer this week. And the difference between them and everyone else who is struggling is they avoided the exact mistakes that I'm about to show you. Mistake number 1 is trying to learn every single AWS service and tools. This is probably the most common one that I see. Someone decides that they want to become a cloud engineer. So the first thing they do is go and make this massive list of everything that they think they need to learn. AWS, Azure, GCP, Terraform, Jenkins, Kubernetes, Docker, CloudFormation, Lambda, 50 different services and tools. It's a never-ending list of things to learn. And I understand the logic to some degree because you see all these job descriptions listing almost everything. So you think that you need to know all of them before you can apply. But this is where it unravels very quickly, because what actually happens is that you end up with surface level knowledge of a lot of things, but deep understanding of nothing. And that is a massive problem because companies do not hire you to recite a list of services and tools. They hire you to work on specific projects using a specific technology stack. And when they interview you, they are going to go deep. They're not going to be asking you to name 200 AWS services. They'll be asking you to explain how EC2, S3, IAM, VPC actually connect together in a real system. Why you choose one service over another. What the trade-offs are. What breaks if you make a wrong decision. So instead of trying to learn 200 services at 1% depth, learn the core services at 80% depth. And more importantly, learn how they connect together in a real system. Do not learn S3 in isolation. Build a project when an EC2 instance needs to securely access S3. Which requires an IAM role, or sitting inside a custom VPC. That is how real cloud systems work together. Services connected, solving real business problems. And when you understand things at that level, jumping to a new service or even a new cloud platform becomes very straightforward because the concepts, they transfer. AWS, Azure, and GCP, it is all the same principles with different names. That depth is what gets you hired, not the breadth. Mistake number 2 is skipping the fundamentals. And I know this is not what you want to hear. I know that you want to skip ahead and start deploying things on AWS. But if you skip the fundamentals, you will struggle later on. And this matters more than ever before because AI tools are making it so much easier to build things without understanding them. You can ask ChatGPT to write your Terraform code and it feels like you are learning. But if you do not understand what is happening under the hood, you are building on sand. So what do I mean by fundamentals? You need to understand what cloud computing actually is. Why do companies move to the cloud? What are the deployment models? Public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and the service models, infrastructure service, platform as a service, and software as a service. As a cloud engineer, you're mostly operating in the infrastructure and platform world. So understanding where you sit in the stack is really important. From there, the software development lifecycle, how software gets built, tested, deployed, and maintained, because you are building the infrastructure that supports the entire process. And if you do not understand it, you will not understand why CI/CD pipelines and infrastructure's code matters later on. Then the core IT areas like networking, IP addresses, subnets, DNS, basic routing. Everything in the cloud runs on networking. Linux. The cloud runs on Linux machines, so you need to be comfortable with using Linux operating systems. The command line. Virtualization, which is what makes cloud computing possible in the first place. Databases, both relational and non-relational. And security, which has to be part of your thinking from day one. I have seen people skip all of this. They jump straight into AWS, they spend months learning services, and then completely fall apart in interviews because they cannot explain basic networking concepts. They know how to create a VPC, but they cannot tell you what the subnet actually does. The fundamentals are what makes everything else click. Mistake number 3, thinking certifications will get you hired. Now, this one's going to upset some people, so before you start spamming the comments, whining like you always do, let me explain first. I hire engineers for my AI cloud security consultancy, okay? And the pattern that I kept seeing was someone was applying with 3 or 4 certifications on their resume. They would get to the interview with our hiring manager on our team, but they couldn't answer a basic architecture or system design question. So now, I just skip straight past the certification sections on the resume and I go onto the projects and hands-on experience that they've got. Because a certified candidate can tell you what services exist, but it cannot tell you when or why you would use them. And the gap between what certs teach you and what the job actually requires is where most people get stuck without even realizing it. Certifications give you this false sense of readiness. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't immune to this. When I quit my job as a software engineer more than 6 years ago, I fell into the exact same trap. I grabbed a few certifications thinking that that was the path and then wondered why nobody was calling me back. And honestly, the internet does not help either. People are promising you that you can go get one certification and land a 6-figure tech job. Now, do you really think that you can pass the Security Plus certification, pay $100, and someone's going to give you a role of over $200K a year? Wake up, man. Get hands-on, build projects, and demonstrate your skill set. Now, if you're serious about landing a 6-figure cloud role in 2026 and you want my help directly, then check the link in the description where you can book a call with my team. Mistake number 4 is building tutorial projects. Now, here is where most people go wrong. They find a tutorial on YouTube, follow it step by step, click this, type that, run that command. They finish the project, they add it to their portfolio and think that is enough. But you did not solve a problem. You copied someone else's solution. In an interview, that falls apart immediately because the interviewer is going to ask you why you chose this architecture. What alternatives did you consider? What would you change if the requirements were different? And you will not have an answer because you never made those decisions. Someone else made them for you. Most tutorial projects teach you the how to click the buttons, how to follow the steps. But what gets you hired as a 6-figure cloud engineer is the why. Why EC2 over Lambda? Why RDS over DynamoDB? What are the trade-offs? What if the budget got cut in half? What if the system was in a regulated industry like healthcare? That is a complete different level of thinking, and that is what interviewers are actually testing for. So the next time you build a project, do not just follow the instructions. Start with the problem. What is the business trying to solve? What are the constraints? Then make your own decisions about which services to use and why. If you cannot explain every choice that you made and what you would change if the requirements shifted, you do not understand your own project. And if you do not understand it, then the interviewer would definitely not believe that you built it. Mistake number 5, the ClickOps engineer. If you're still building your cloud infrastructure by clicking around the AWS console, then we need to talk. And I know there are people out there on the internet telling you that you can make it as a 6-figure cloud engineer just by doing ClickOps. And it frustrates me a lot because that information is completely false. And then those same people are coming to me and saying that the job market is cooked. Well, yes, it is if you don't have the right skills. When you are brand new, clicking through the console is totally fine. That is how you explore and get familiar with things. But if you stop there, you are learning a version of cloud engineering that does not exist in real companies. In production systems, nobody's clicking through the console to build infrastructure because if something breaks at 2 a.m. and you need to recreate that environment in a different region, you cannot remember every single setting that you clicked. You cannot hand that off to another engineer. It is not tracked, it is not repeatable, and it's not scalable. Infrastructure as code solves all of that. Using tools like Terraform, you define your infrastructure in code. You store it in version control, and one command stands up everything exactly the same way every single time. That is how real cloud environments are built and managed. So while everyone else is doing ClickOps, you should be writing your infrastructure with Terraform. Mistake number 6, getting the AI balance wrong. Right now, I see 2 types of people trying to become cloud engineers, and both are getting it wrong. The first group I call the vibe coders. Everything is AI generated, their Terraform, their architecture, their projects, their resumes. They are basically outsourcing their thinking entirely. And it works fine until it doesn't. Because in real environments, when something breaks across multiple services at 2 a.m., ChatGPT does not know your system. It does not know your networking setup, your IAM policies, your company rules, your dependencies. You have to actually understand what you built. And if you did not build it, then you are in trouble. The second group is the opposite. They refuse to touch AI at all, almost like a pride thing. And I get it, but in 2026, you're leaving so much on the table. Companies expect you to move fast and be more productive, so the engineers who know how to leverage AI effectively are just operating at a completely different speed. And remember, the version of AI today isn't the final iteration, so you need to keep up with it. Otherwise, it gets really good and you'll be left behind. And I want to clarify a common misconception that AI makes you a better engineer. To me, it's a force multiplier. It just makes you more of what you already are. If your fundamentals are solid and you understand what is happening under the hood, AI turns you into a machine. Pardon the pun. You are solving problems faster, automating more, learning quicker. But if your foundations are weak, AI just helps you make bigger mistakes at a faster rate. Bad configurations, security holes, broken infrastructure, all shipped into production before anyone else catches it because you did not know what to look for. So the answer to the AI thing is balance. Do not become a copy and paste engineer who cannot function without AI. And do not be the person who pretends AI does not exist. Learn how to use AI to assist you while you're building real understanding of cloud engineering. Mistake number 7. Thinking technical skills is all that matters. This is the one that caps your income even after you've got the technical skills. So many people think becoming a 6-figure cloud engineer is purely about technical ability. Learn the services, build the projects, and yes, you need those things, but I have seen people with incredible technical skills who cannot get past a final round interview. And I have seen people with less technical depth get offers because they could clearly explain what they built and why it mattered to the business. The reality is, in a real company, nobody really cares about how clever your architecture is if you cannot explain it. Your manager needs to know if this is on track and what the risks are. The VP needs to know why this is worth funding. Your teammates need to understand your design decisions so they can work with you and not against you. If you can only speak to engineers at your level, you have a ceiling on your career and you probably do not even know that it's there. And this is not just a promotion fit. This shows up even more in interviews. When they ask you to walk through a project, they are testing whether you can think out loud, whether you can explain the trade-offs, whether you can connect what you built to a real business problem. I have sat on the other side of thousands of interviews, and I can tell you the person who explains their thinking clearly beats the person with the better architecture almost every time. So start paying attention to this now. Technical skills get you in the room. How you communicate is what decides how far you really go. Now, let me give you some real talk for a moment because I know the majority of you who are watching this right now are either stuck in a job you do not like, or you're not earning what you know you're capable of, or you're just not living life on your own terms. And you've probably been thinking about making this change for a while now, maybe a year, maybe 2, or maybe even 3 years, right? And I know some of you are thinking about the uncertainty, right? What if it doesn't work out? What if I invest all my time and money and nothing changes? The market is tough. AI is taking jobs. I do not have a degree or prior experience. I'm too old to make the switch. But let me ask you this. What if it does work out? What if it does happen? What if you do land a 6-figure cloud role because the glass half empty mindset does not serve you in any way? It does not move you forward. It just keeps you exactly where you are. Right now, in 2026, companies are almost spending $700 billion on AI and cloud infrastructure this year alone. That's after spending $320 billion in 2025. There's tens of thousands of cloud engineering jobs posted on LinkedIn right now. So the opportunity is not the problem. The problem is watching videos feels productive. It feels like you're gathering important information and it feels like you are getting closer. But at some point, you have to do something about it. You have to take action, whether that's alone or with me. And I feel like I owe it to you to say this. Right now, my Cloud Engineer Academy, we are more busy than ever before. We are enrolling more students than ever before, and that's a testament to the results that we are getting. We run daily coaching calls. We have former graduates like Mac, a systems engineer at AWS, coaching inside of my academy as well. But the most common thing that we hear from people when they enroll is that they had been thinking about doing this for 6 months, a year, even 2 years before they finally made the decision. And then after a week inside of my academy with the roadmap and the community and the support and the coaching that they get, almost every single one of them says the same thing. I wish I had done it sooner, because they look back at all the time and they realize that they lost so much time trying to do it alone and not making any real progress. So if that's you right now, click the link in the description below, book a call with my team and see if we can help you. As always, I'm rooting for you. Good luck.